As technology continues to advance at an unbelievably quick rate, it is important for us to stop and think about the risks of possessing such smart technology. The technology we have now allows for people to kill thousands at the push of a button without little remorse, have the answers to just about any question at our fingertips, and track any person no matter where their location is on this planet. Yes, it may seem that these technologies come with benefits that outweigh the cost, but what if that's not the case? Hello everybody, my name is Denise Adada, and today I'm going to be presenting my project, The Effects of Dystopian Entertainment on Society, an analysis of Black Mirror's Archangel. The question I'm going to be attempting to answer is, does dystopian entertainment desensitize society to potential fears or encourage preventative behavior before the thrilling plots manifest in the real world? To answer this question, I will be examining various viewpoints on the dystopian genre in my exploratory synthesis. Then I will be applying the theories about helicopter parenting and the invasion of privacy to the Netflix show Black Mirror in my causal analysis. Next, I will examine the editing and cinematography skills used in the episode Archangel to help better understand the creator's purpose in my textual analysis. Upon researching different viewpoints on the dystopian genre, I found several commonalities and disagreements between various scholars. The first I wish to discuss is how dystopian entertainment, whether it be in literature and film, expresses present societal fears in apocalyptic ways. In his two essays, Roland Hughes argues that the dystopian literature does in fact reflect societal issues in present time. He gives various examples of films created in the 1970s when deforestation and overpopulation were largely feared by society, such as Silent Running. In this film, he explains how all of the Earth's forests had been destroyed, aside from the preserved portion that is in space under the control of Freeman Lowell. Lowell eventually ends up losing his mind and kills the members of his ship, resulting in him having to release the remaining forests into space to accept the fact that he will not be able to fulfill his goal of reforesting the Earth. He later explains that the shift from deforestation to genetic engineering and artificial intelligence in the 1970s and how it is reflected in films such as Existence in Gattaca. Dana Fisher and Larry Wright contrast Hughes' views on the dystopian genre with their explanation of Oghorn's cultural lag idea. This idea focuses on advancements in technology and says that there is a gap in society's understanding from when a new technology is created and when society adapts to the change. This idea can be applied to film in that the film addressing a particular societal issue would come before the actual fear has been recognized or pronounced in society, which is opposite of what Hughes said previously. The next viewpoint I would like to address is the contrasting opinions of whether the dystopian genre has positive or negative effects on society. Three authors that express a positive effect of the dystopian genre are Melissa Ames, Dana Fisher, and Larry Wright. Melissa Ames argues that dystopian literature and films have actually raised the interest and awareness in politics in the millennial generation who have commonly been viewed to be apolitical. Fisher and Wright examine the internet and its utopian versus dystopian effects and argue that the internet actually strengthens democracy. In contrast, Henry Farrell, Roland Hughes, and Pat Wheeler offer negative viewpoints on dystopian genre. Farrell examines the internet as a dystopian place and relates the internet to science fiction films by Philip K. Dick. He focuses on how people can no longer distinguish between the real and the fake, especially on the internet, because of the creation of bots that appear on different websites and social media outlets, and they cause adverse effects on society, such as believing fake news or stealing money. Hughes discusses beliefs that the creation of mass amounts of apocalyptic dystopian films cause numbness to critical issues due to highly fictitious and unbelievable plots, which strongly contrasts with Ames' view of making millennials more involved in politics because of this genre. Moving into my contextual analysis, I decided to delve deeper into the plot using theories about privacy and psychology to analyze how Black Mirror criticizes society's decreasing value for privacy with Sarah and Marie's relationship. Before I explain my analysis, it is important to give a brief overview of the plot. Archangel tells the story of a paranoid mother, Marie, whose interference in the daily life of her daughter Sarah causes detrimental effects to Sarah's development and their relationship. The Archangel chip was inserted into Sarah's head and came with a tablet that had different parental controls. Using the advanced technological tracking device, Marie was able to intervene in Sarah's decision-making and her ability to experience life as a normal child. Marie abused the functions that allowed her to see through Sarah's eyes and the parental advisory function. After Sarah negatively reacts to the chip, Marie decides to power off the device until she's a teenager. As a teenager, Marie watches her daughter participate in risky behavior including sex, drugs, and lying, and continues tampering with her life without Sarah knowing it. Sarah ultimately finds out that her mother still has the Archangel on and bashes it over Marie's head before running away. I analyzed the relationship between Marie and Sarah using James Moore's restricted access limited control theory of privacy and the studies of helicopter parenting and their effects on risky behavior and self-efficacy. The RALC theory focuses on three main types of privacy, being accessibility, informational, and decision-making. I then analyzed Sarah's reaction to the Archangel using psychological studies about helicopter parenting that said there is a decrease in self-efficacy and an increase in risky behavior for children of helicopter parents. Marie invades Sarah's privacy on all three phases using the Archangel. She invades her accessibility privacy using the GPS tracker and optic feed function in the Archangel. She invades Sarah's informational privacy by being able to not only see everything she does, but also who she's with and how to find them. And she invades Sarah's decision-making privacy by intruding in her relationship, leading to a breakup and even terminating Sarah's unknown pregnancy by slipping an abortion pill into her morning smoothie. If we're referencing Hughes' theory that dystopian films are created to call attention to a potential problem that society already faces, it is evident that the creators of Archangel are trying to send a message about the harmful effects of invading one's privacy. Moving into the psychological aspect, I first wanted to define the term helicopter parenting. A helicopter parent is a parent that is excessively overprotective or intrusive into their child's life. Marie is portrayed as a futuristic helicopter parent that chose her own peace of mind over her daughter's autonomy. The feeling of losing Sarah while she was a child at the park was too overbearing for Marie to handle, leading her to get the Archangel chip implanted into her head. Studies have shown that helicopter parenting not only decreases self-efficacy, but it's also proven to increase the likeliness of risky behavior. Both of these traits are evident in Sarah's personality. As a child, she was unable to fit in with her peers and felt like an outsider because of the parental controls. As a teenager, she became involved with an older boy in whom she engaged in sexual activity with and drugs. Having a helicopter parent who made many important decisions for her and impaired her ability to see the reality of the world at such an important developmental stage in her life encouraged feelings of self-doubt and risky behavior. Black Mirror comments again not only on the effects of invading one's privacy, but also the effects of being an overbearing parent. This leads me to my textual analysis, which I will be discussing the creator's use of image and sound editing, symbolic music, and thematic cinematographic techniques to allow the audience to understand the genuine emotions of the characters and the traumatic effects of interfering in one's life. The visual image and editing and sound muffling used to distract Sarah from the stressful noises and interactions introduce an unrealistic element to mask the true psychological effects of helicopter parenting and advanced technological safety devices. The editors use a blurring effect to represent the parental advisory function of the Archangel. Whenever Sarah encounters anything that causes an increase in stress or fear, her vision is pixelated out and her hearing becomes staticky and muffled. Although these edits are highly unrealistic to the audience, they are necessary for us to understand when Sarah is scared or stressed, because without the visual indication on the screen, her calm and indifferent demeanor when it comes to stressful situations like stabbing herself with a pencil or her grandfather having a heart attack would be confusing to the audience. The editors wanted us to know the reality of the situation, even if Sarah could not understand it herself. The use of music effectively reflects the emotion and suspense of the characters and plot, allowing the audience to understand Marie and Sarah and the foreshadowing of events. Although the music throughout the entire episode is eerie and slow, there are certain situations where the tempo or the inclusion of string instruments is used to mirror the emotions of the characters or to foreshadow an important event. For example, the music leading up to Marie realizing Sarah was lost as a child consisted of deep, slow piano notes. However, when Marie finally does notice that Sarah was missing, the piano keys get higher and louder to follow Marie's train of thought and build suspense as the search for Sarah is held. Another example is when Sarah finds out about her pregnancy and her abortion from her school nurse. The creators use a looping sound effect to reflect Sarah's confusion when she found out from the school nurse that her pregnancy was terminated by a pill she did not take. The sound embodies a vision of waves created from dropping a single pebble into water and creating circular motions from the wave, and the circular motions of the water forming different sized rings.
I gotta put it in your file, but I don't have to flag it. And I want to know about your back.
As Sarah's rage built up when she found out her mother had turned the Archangel back on, the music introduced percussion and the tempo became faster to let the audience understand Sarah's anger and foreshadow the tragic climax where Sarah almost beats her mother to death.
I gotta put it in your file, but I don't have to.
Moving on to the cinematography, the cinematographic techniques used to convey the anxiety and pain the characters felt during upsetting situations allowed the audience to empathize with Sarah and Marie by creating a recurring pattern of filming methods during anxious and uneasy situations. The cinematographer would frantically move the camera side to side and zoom in to the characters' worried faces. For example, in the scene where Sarah goes missing as a child, while Marie is pacing back and forth, frantically searching for Sarah when she's a child, the camera moves back and forth with her. The cinematographer wants us to feel Marie's fear of her daughter being gone and achieves this goal by using the camera's fast motions.
Sarah! 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 No. No.
It's important that we empathize with the characters because they represent our morality beliefs about parental controls. The cinematographer also highlighted the division between Sarah and Marie as their relationship crumbled in the result of Marie's meddling and Sarah's private life by filming them separately in dialogue and confrontation. Before Sarah's initial lie to Marie, which caused her to turn the Archangel back on, Sarah and Marie were always filmed in the same frame, especially in dialogue. But after Sarah does lie to her mother, they began being filmed in separate frames. For example, in this frame, this is the scene where Sarah is beating her mother and the cinematographer is jumping back and forth, filming them in separate frames rather than filming them in the same frame from a distance. In conclusion, Archangel's realness and although the themes represented in the episode, like privacy and helicopter parenting, are existing issues in society today, the unrealistic techniques used to represent the technology form a dissonance in society's understanding to this warning. Archangel's realness and its current topics like helicopter parenting, innovation, and privacy would seem like it would make the audience more aware of these two societal fears. However, even though they use unrealistic editing to represent Archangel's technology capabilities, most of the technology that they are using exists today. We have GPS tracking devices that track health, and cameras everywhere to capture our every move, yet the show is still believed to be outrageously unrealistic by many. Therefore, dystopian genre does desensitize our society to important issues. Without understanding the real implications of our society reflected in Archangel, we will continue on the slippery slope into a society that is ignorant to the daily invasion of privacy by our technology until privacy disappears entirely. Thank you.